Poverty is an issue that has plagued Latin America for centuries. Despite being a region rich in natural resources, many countries in the region have attempted to emulate the success of other prosperous nations, only to end up significantly poorer. The oil curse is a phenomenon that economists have identified as a correlation between oil per capita and undemocratic government, leading to economic and social concerns. However, there is one oil curse exception that stands out: Norway. In this video, we will explore how Norway became one of the richest nations in the world, despite its similarities with many other oil exporting nations, and what Latin America can learn from its success. Thomas Malthus, a famous economist, visited gorgeous but brutal Danish-controlled Norway in the late 18th century. The tiny population lived off modest farms and marine seafood. Winters were gloomy and agricultural land was scarce. Norway was poor and ignorant, relying on transporting lumber, fish, and minerals, unlike its increasingly industrializing southern neighbors. However, Norway had advantages. During the period of open international commerce, Norway created the world's fourth biggest merchant fleet, developing competence in shipping, trade, and technology, and providing foreign money. Norway's independence battle produced a robust parliamentary system, universal suffrage, workers' rights, and major social reforms. Its widespread political authority, checks, and balances supported future growth. The rough topography provided inexpensive hydroelectricity for development, and a law limited foreign ownership and monopolization. Controlling natural resources was crucial later in the plot. Norway grew steadily but was still small and vulnerable to the early 20th century's global economic and geopolitical influences. However, it was neutral in both world wars, and the Labour Party took the clean slate and established a tight social democratic government with a strong public sector and centralized planning, while allowing private competitiveness to thrive. Norway had consistent 3.3% GDP growth from 1945 to 1975, and its social safety net kept inequality low. Inflation and unemployment were low. Norway's economy was solid, but not as powerful as it is now. Norway's oil narrative began in a similar way to other oil-rich nations. Dutch natural gas reserves led to North Sea oil speculation. However, who owned the massive oil reserves under the waves? Norway finally claimed these waterways. The Norwegian government sold oil exploration permits. Despite doubts regarding continental shelf oil, Phillips Petroleum drilled. They kept failing. Phillips tried again, deeper, due to contract problems. Finally, in 1969, large amounts of North Sea oil were retrieved. Norway produced more oil per person than any other nation within a decade of the Black Gold boom. The oil sector became a titan. Thousands of high-paying jobs emerged. Small fishing communities became petroleum powerhouses. Billions of dollars poured in, and Norway's economy was permanently changed. But how did Norway avoid the oil curse? The answer lies in the country's political power and widespread political authority, making it difficult for a single individual or group to enrich themselves at the expense of society, unlike Venezuela. Thus, Norway's government was able, yet constrained, to make national utility judgments. Norway saw the global oil curse and recognized that oil luck was not permanent. Norwegian natural resources belong to Norwegians, not foreign oil firms, according to the government. These enterprises may explore, drill, and extract oil, but the state would keep most of the revenues, while its public oil corporation Statoil studied, replicated, and finally surpassed them. Norway realized it needed to extract crude oil and build its petroleum processing sector to maximize this potential. It could have cut taxes, raised social spending, and spent its lottery on popular measures, but it didn't. It imposed a 90 million ton per year cap to prevent the petroleum sector from dominating the economy. Other nations tried this, but their political climates turned them into personal piggy banks for the leaders, defeating their original purpose. Norway's sovereign wealth fund was designed to avoid corruption. The government can only spend expected profits. New politicians cannot pledge to spend more now at the detriment of tomorrow, and it maintains stringent investing standards. It cannot invest in oil, immoral, or Norwegian enterprises. The fund diversifies risk. Because it doesn't invest in Norwegian enterprises, the fund can withstand short-term domestic shocks. The world's largest fund owns 1.5% of public corporations. Its highest value was $1.35 trillion, enough to provide every Norwegian $250,000, and it is likely to keep rising. Norway is utilizing oil income interest to offer healthcare, education, and a safety net to struggling families, while other Scandinavian countries have cut social expenditure. Norway pays high taxes, yet its citizens never have to worry about medical costs. Norway got lucky, but planned beforehand. Oil is a huge aspect of the Norwegian economy, providing high-paying employment and supporting many other productive businesses. Norway would still be rich if oil disappeared tomorrow. Norway's success story offers valuable lessons for Latin American countries that are still struggling with poverty despite their abundance of natural resources. By prioritizing political power and widespread political authority, Norway was able to avoid the oil curse and make national utility judgments that benefited society as a whole. Additionally, Norway's investment in a sovereign wealth fund ensured that the country's oil wealth was used to provide long-term benefits to its citizens rather than being wasted on short-term social expenditures. Other oil-rich nations must develop a robust democracy before being blessed with oil, or else politicians and powerful men compete for power and sacrifice the future. Norway's experience proves that planning beforehand and diversifying investments is crucial to avoid stagnation and remain prosperous in the long run. Latin American countries can learn from Norway's experience and strive to develop a robust democracy before relying solely on their natural resources. By planning beforehand, diversifying investments, and prioritizing the needs of their citizens, these countries can avoid stagnation and achieve sustained economic growth. It may take time and effort, but the end result will be worth it: a future free from poverty and full of opportunity.